We are moving on to the next chapter, chapter 6, accounting procedures, rules of debit and credit. We already learnt double entry system. What is double entry system? According to this system, every transaction has two aspects, a debit aspect and a credit aspect. Debit is the receiving aspect, credit is the giving aspect. So that we learned. Now we will see when an item or how an item should be debited or should be credited depending upon the transaction. So what are the rules of debit and credit we will be discussing in this chapter. So first we will see what is an account. We already discussed the term ledger. Do you remember ledger? That is called book of final entry or principal book of accounts. Because once you record transactions in journal, soon after that the journal entries will be transferred from journal to ledger, and that process is known as posting. So all those we discussed. So when you do ledger, how we are doing ledger? For every transaction we will be preparing accounts like cash account, capital account, bank account. Different accounts would be there in every transaction. For each and every transaction we will be opening accounts. So what is an account basically? Account means it is a summary of transactions, or it is a record of transactions under a particular head. Like when you do ledger, you will be having so many accounts in that book called ledger, like capital account, cash account, bank account, drawings account and all. Account means it will be like this, like a box. This will be the basic format of an account. We will have date column, particulars column, amount column. So we will be having so many columns. This is called an account. Capital account, cash account. For every account the format will be same. So account means it is a summary or it is a record of transactions under a particular head. We will be showing one common head. Common head means all transactions related to this particular head will be written in this account. So now we have to see the classification of accounts and what are the rules of debit and credit. So you give the heading classification of accounts. Classification of accounts. We can classify accounts into personal and impersonal. Personal can be again divided into natural personal, artificial personal and representative personal. Impersonal can be divided into real accounts and nominal accounts. Okay, all these are new terms for you. So we will discuss each and every term. Okay, we can classify accounts into two, personal and impersonal. From the name itself you can understand what is personal. Personal account means accounts related to persons. Persons means it need not be always individuals. It can be firms, companies, institutions, debtors, creditors. Debtors, creditors also sometimes if you are selling your goods on credit to another firm. In that situation, debtor is a firm. It's not an individual. So here personal account means account which is related to persons. Persons means not only individuals but also firms, corporates like companies, then institutions. All these artificial people also will come under this term personal. And we can classify it into three: natural personal, artificial personal and representative personal. So what can be the meaning of natural personal? Natural personal means persons who are creations of God, like we people. That is called natural personal. So examples what we can write is capital account of, if Ram is your owner, capital account of Ram. Ram is a person, Ram is the owner, and capital account of Ram is natural personal account, or bank account of Ram, that is again natural personal. Understood? Then bank account of Ram. So accounts that you open in the name of individuals will come under natural personal. If you open an account in the name of a firm like ABC Limited, account of ABC Limited or ABC Limited account, A/C means that is the short form of account. Usually in accountancy we will be using this short form for account, for the term account, that is capital A/small c account. So ABC Limited account, that is artificial personal, because that is the name of a firm or name of a club, name of a cooperative society, then name of limited companies. All these will be, name means accounts of all these will be artificial personal accounts. So artificial personal means actually they are not individuals like this, they are not creations of God, basically they are man-made. The firms means the people are forming an organization. So these are considered as persons in business dealings, but they are actually artificial personal. So that is called artificial personal accounts, accounts which is related to firms, corporate bodies, or clubs, cooperative societies. All these are artificial personal. The third one is representative personal. Representative personal, the example what we can write is outstanding rent account, or we can write prepaid rent account, or accrued interest account, then rent received in advance account. All these are examples of representative personal account. Meaning is, this represents, we will take outstanding rent. Outstanding means the expense which we have not paid yet, it is still outstanding. What is the nature of outstanding items? It is a liability. If you pay, that means paid items means not a liability, that is an expense, that you must know. Outstanding means not yet paid, so it is a liability for you. So outstanding rent account shows the amount payable to a person or a group of persons. Understood? Outstanding rent account means amount payable to, outstanding rent here means the rent payable to a landlord. It can be to a landlord. So representative personal accounts means accounts which is related to or accounts which represents the amount payable to a person or a group of persons. So that is called representative personal. Outstanding rent account represents the amount payable to landlord. Similarly, prepaid rent means rent which we paid in advance to the landlord. So that also represents a particular person or a group of persons. That is called representative personal. Then other examples are accrued interest. That also we discussed. Accrued interest means interest which is receivable, not yet received. So receivable items are always your asset. If you receive it, received items are your incomes, that you must know. Receivable are assets, received means it is your income or revenue. Revenue and income both are used interchangeably. Then rent received in advance. In advance means before the date of maturity you are receiving. Like commission, you agreed that commission to be paid only the next month, only in the next month. But that broker paid, or the broker paid commission in advance, 1 month before the date he paid. So you received it in advance. You have a liability to pay it back if that person asks this amount. That person means that broker, if he asks this amount back, your firm has a liability to pay this back. So before the date, if you receive something, that's called in advance, that is what? That comes under this representative personal, and the nature of this item is a liability. So among this, prepaid and accrued are assets, outstanding and rent or income received in advance are liabilities. Okay. Now we will see what is the rule of debit and credit for this personal account. Okay, for personal accounts, for all these personal accounts, 3 personal accounts are there. The rule of debit and credit, you write within a box, you write this rule of debit and credit. The rule is debit the receiver. We need these rules. Based on this, we will be working out problems. So debit the receiver and credit the giver. Write this rule there. Within a box you write. Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Then above this topic, no, classification of accounts you wrote. Below that you just write the heading. This is the traditional approach. So there you write below classification of accounts, on the top you write traditional approach. This is the traditional approach, where accounts are classified into personal and impersonal. Personal again divided into 3: natural personal, artificial personal and representative personal. And this is the rule of personal accounts. Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Then next what we wrote here is, the next classification is impersonal accounts. Impersonal accounts we have divided into 2: real accounts and nominal accounts. So now we will discuss what is real account, what is nominal account. I will write on the next page. Okay, real accounts means accounts which is related to assets, that includes tangible and intangible assets, excluding one item, that is debtor. So you write accounts related to tangible or intangible assets but excluding debtors. Why we are excluding debtors? Because debtors come under the category of personal, isn't it? That can be an individual, sometimes it can be a firm also, to whom we are selling goods on credit. So debtors always will come under personal account. So that is why debtors nature is an asset. It is receivable amount, it is an asset, but will you consider it under real accounts? No. Other than debtors, you can include all tangible and intangible assets under real accounts. Like examples, what all you can write, you write now. Examples can be machinery, building, computer, land, plant and machinery, land and building. Then intangible assets like goodwill, copyright, trademarks, software, computer software, all these examples. I mean examples for tangible and intangible assets you can write under real account, but exclude debtors because debtors come under personal account. And what is the rule of debit and credit for real accounts? The rule is that you write in a box. After that meaning and example, you write that rule of debit and credit. That is debit what comes in and credit what goes out. This is the rule of real account. Rule of personal account we discussed already, that is debit the receiver, credit the giver. Now it is debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Understood? So that is the rule of debit and credit in case of real accounts. The next is impersonal accounts classified into 2: real accounts and nominal accounts. So nominal account means account which is related to related to expenses, losses, incomes and gains. Understood? Nominal account means accounts related to expenses and losses, similarly incomes and gains. So all these expense, any expense you can write here. Expense means the amount which you paid. Payable will be a liability. Don't write payable items here. Don't write outstanding rent and all here. That's wrong. Only paid items you can write as expense, like commission paid, interest paid, salary paid, or incomes can be all these received you write. Commission received. Salary you can't receive from a firm's point of view. Always think from firm's point of view. From firm's point of view, you cannot receive salary because you are paying to employees. So commission you can, commission received, interest received, then bank interest also you can specify there, bank interest received. So any income that you received can be income. Then any losses like bad debts. Bad debts is a kind of loss for the firm. What is bad debts? The amount which we cannot recover, that means which we cannot get from debtors. Debtors means from whom we have to get money. If they doesn't make the payment, that will become, the debtors will become bad debt. And bad debts is a kind of loss, so it comes under nominal account. Understood? And here the rule is that you write again within a box the rule. You give the heading rule of debit and credit and you write this debit all expenses and losses, then credit all incomes and gains. Clear? So that you can write within a box. Debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. That is the rule of nominal account. So this is the traditional classification or traditional approach of accounts. We'll work out one illustration so you will get an idea. That is illustration 1 given on page number 6.4. Just give the illustration number and page number. The question is classify the following accounts into personal, real and nominal. So you do one thing, draw 3 columns, that is personal, then real, then nominal accounts. Now we will write the items under these heads. First one, cash. So you have to first think of the nature of that item. Cash means it is an asset. So asset will come under real but excluding debtors. So write here cash. Then the next one, second one is bank. Second one is bank. Bank is also an asset, isn't it? Cash in hand. Cash simply means cash in hand. Bank means cash at bank. Both are assets, but bank means it will be opened usually, not usually, always it will be opened in the name of an individual or in the name of a firm or institution. So bank account will come under this personal account that we discussed already. Isn't it? When we discussed personal accounts topic, didn't we discuss this? So bank will come under personal. Then third one, outstanding salary. Salary which we have to pay. That means not yet paid. That is payable. So it is a liability. Where will you write that? Outstanding rent we discussed. Where did we discuss that? It is under that representative personal. So outstanding salary will come under personal. Understood? Then fourth one, sales. Sales means selling an item means in return you are getting some amount. So sales, the basic nature is income. Understood? Sales means it is an income. You are getting some income or revenue. Income or revenue, both are used interchangeably. So sales, the basic nature is income. And incomes relate to which head? Income relates to nominal. Clear? Then fifth one is accrued interest. Accrued interest means interest which is receivable, not yet received. Such items are basically assets. So where will you write accrued interest? Basically it is an asset. So we can write under real account. But in this problem, can we write it under real? It is an asset, that I agree. It is an asset. But can we write it under real account? Is it tangible asset? No. The items which we can see and touch. It's not tangible. Then is it intangible? It's not intangible also. It's not like your goodwill and all. So accrued interest means it is an asset since it is receivable for you. We haven't received yet. And such items will come under representative personnel. That also we discussed already. So you learn those classification first, then you work out this problem. So accrued interest is personnel. Then leasehold property. Leasehold property means it can be a land or a building which you own on the basis of a lease agreement. So anyways, that is your property for the time being. So it is your property or your asset means, and it is tangible in nature. So that comes under real account. So leasehold property comes under real account. See, this topic is very much important. This is the basic of accounting, the rule of debit and credit. You must study these rules very well. Then only we can do problems later on. Then seventh one, drawings. Drawings means the amount withdrawn by the owner for his personal use. So that is related to a particular person. So that is personal account. Drawings will come under personal account. Okay, rest items we will discuss. You write in respective columns. I am not writing it. We will discuss it. Eighth one, discount received. Received items are incomes. Receivable are assets. Received items are incomes or revenues. Incomes will go to nominal. So discount receipt will come under nominal. Then bad debts written off. Bad debts we discussed. It is a kind of loss. Expenses and losses again under nominal. Then purchases. What did we discuss about sales? Selling something means you are getting in return some amount. That is an income for you. Purchasing means it will be the opposite. Purchasing something means you are paying for that. It is an expense for you. So purchases is an expense. So that also will come under nominal. Bad debts recovered. You had bad debts. You couldn't recover some amount. But after some time, the debtors gave us the amount. That is called bad debts recovered. So the income that we recovered or the income that we received, incomes are nominal accounts. Then plant and machinery, it is an asset, it's a tangible asset, so real account. Then capital, capital also relates to a person, account of the owner, so that is personal account. Then interest, within brackets they have written paid. Paid means it is an expense. Expense will come under nominal. Then next is bank overdraft. Bank overdraft means, the word meaning is withdrawing more than what is there in your account. You can opt this facility called bank overdraft. It is given by banks. So you can go to a bank, get this facility, avail this facility. You will have to pay interest and all for this. So when you avail this facility, the benefit is you can withdraw more than what is there in your account. Suppose you have only 1 lakh in your account, but using this facility you can withdraw up to 1,50,000. That depends on the terms and conditions of banks. I mean, what is there in your account, your credit worthiness. What is credit worthiness? The ability of your firm to pay this amount back. So all these factors will affect the amount up to which you can withdraw. So basically bank overdraft means withdrawing more than what is there in your account. You have only 1 lakh, but you can withdraw up to 1,50,000. That is an example of overdraft. Again, that account is related to a person or it is related to a firm. So that comes under personal. Bank overdraft comes under personal account. Then prepaid rent, prepaid, already paid. It is an asset, but can we write under real? No, this includes only tangible and intangible. Prepaid rent will come under representative personal, so it is personal account. Then carriage inwards. Carriage means it is transportation expense. Carriage expenses means transportation expenses. Carriage inwards means transportation expense incurred while you purchase something. While you purchase goods, what all expenses you incurred for transportation. That is called carriage inwards. Expenses you incurred on sales. It is called carriage outwards. Expenses means transportation expenses incurred on sales. That is called carriage outwards. Both are expenses. So expenses will come under nominal. Then goodwill, it is intangible asset, so that is real account. Yes. So with that, illustration 1 is over. So first you must study the classification, then you come and do this problem.